Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Sherry. So to begin, I'm going to do my top 5 high school romances. High school may not have been a great time for myself since my firstborn son was born when I was in grade 11, but maybe that's why I can appreciate these stories so much more. Which I will mention My Girlfriend's Child, which I did check out, which I was very reluctant despite hearing great things, as I feel like when it hits too close to home for me, it makes me a little uncomfortable. And that series shows me what it's like if you actually had a good partner. So let's dive into some of my favorites. I'm going to start at number 5, and that is Love That's an Understatement. This series is around Risa, who is so capable and she's prepared to do anything. She is so independent, very smart, and she ends up being kind to the delinquent Zen, and then he wants to repay her. So that's the beginning of their romance, and it does take a little bit to break down the walls to Risa, but it is so well done. I absolutely love them together, and her other works, Lovesick Ellie, did eventually see some intimacy, so I hope that eventually this couple will also get there. Zen is very much like a knight in shining armor, and he's just so cool. I am not caught up digitally on it, but I feel very confident that this series is going to go strong for me. In 4th place, I will put the Japanese title on the screen somewhere, but that is what translates something to I Love You by Coercion. And this series has our female lead where she has a crush on her senpai, and she ends up trying to find romance elsewhere that doesn't work out. So she decides to go ahead and confess to her senpai so she can reject him and move on. But instead, he decides that they will trial date, and he seems to be such a very charming and happy and sociable guy, and he really isn't deep down, and there is a whole other side to him, and our female lead is just so accepting and bright-eyed for him. And I just love their dynamic. I like the yandere, overbearing male leads, despite how much I love fluffy stuff also. I do have high hopes that this will get a print in English, although I don't know how realistic that is. Next up for 3rd place is, again, I'm going to put the title somewhere on the screen, and that is of Learning to Love My Cat-Like Classmate. Now, I did grab this cover because I love this one, but I'm going to switch it for both leads on the cover. The series is about our male lead who is tasked by the teacher to keep his seatmate awake during class. And that is the beginning of what will eventually be a friendship. They are very awkward, and our male lead, Seno, he really lacks confidence and doesn't really have any friends, particularly in their school. And then we have our female lead, Neko Zane, who is only really interested in cats. So they end up finding some shared interests to blossom their friendship. So I think that it's absolutely adorable. I've reread the series several times. I cannot believe that it has not been published yet. It's so pretty, and they have the cat thing going on, which is fine. It isn't a fantasy by any means. If you're looking for just a slice of life, slow burn, low drama, very wholesome, this is it. And in 2nd place comes Glasses with a Chance of Delinquent, and this has easily become a series that I want to reread over and over and over again. They are just so wholesome and so sweet, and I love that things just are progressing very quickly, really, and just the dynamic between Momose and Ichikura. But this is a series around Momose, who was bullied by delinquents in junior high and decides to change how she looks for high school, and she ends up joining a club, the Helpers Club, and Dan Ichikura is the only other member, and she thinks that he is great and he's smart and diligent in class, and it turns out that he is an ex-delinquent with delinquent tendencies still. So this is them blossoming quickly into a romance, and I love the progression and the humor and the other characters, even if there is one that isn't the greatest near the beginning when he comes in, it moves on and Momose really stands her ground. Despite these two not wanting trouble to follow them, it always does. Quiet moments, the intimate moments that Momose and Ichikura get to have though are just so sweet and so perfect. I'm really looking forward to the anime for the series too. I'm sure it is going to be adorable. And I don't know about anyone else, and I have mentioned it, but I cannot envision anyone but Nobuhiko Okamoto voicing Dan Ichikura. He just has such a range, and I feel like the switch with Ichikura's kind of personality or mood and his charming laugh, that he would just fit so perfectly. I am really hoping that he gets it. I really do hope that this series can go for a long time because I do not want it to end anytime soon. In first place comes A Condition Called Love, and I absolutely love this series. I have for several years already, and it is so much deeper and heartfelt than what it appears. There's just so much to appreciate with this series and where these characters are coming from. This series has been amazing. I have loved it so much. Even with a bit of a roller coaster of emotions and uncertainties happening, it was well worth it. I really do appreciate how our leads do end up finding middle ground and what makes them comfortable in their relationship. Despite some poor decisions that have been made by particularly a certain character, this series overall, they're all pretty mature in how they handle things, or if there are some misunderstandings or lack of communication, they are wrapped up fairly quickly. I've been a fan of the series for several years already, and I just recently read her other work, Wake Up Sleeping Beauty, which was amazing. I did have a hard time getting into that series, and it just blew me away. By the third volume, I was absolutely invested in that series, and I can really appreciate it. So that is it for my top 5 high school romances. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe you're interested in something new, or at least you have more awareness. And I'd love to know, are you surprised by any of the ones that I picked for this, or just any recommendations you might have, some favorites for yourself? I'd love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, take care.